Hi, and welcome. Sorry, I'm just going to take this one away. And welcome to the webinar about 3D in the fashion industry. I think everyone is here now. This webinar will last about 1 hour. We will have some small breaks where you can ask questions in the small dashboard that you have. And we will look at the questions in the end. I'm Trina, and this is my co-driver, Jacob. You see him here. And we go on. 2 seconds. As I said, my name is Trina. I'm a designer and been working since 2002. I've been 3 years here at United Textile Group, and I started the journey of 3D, helping implementing and coordinating 3D in all our core business. I'm madly in love with 3D, and I'm crazy about what it can do for the fashion industry to make it more efficient and, of course, more sustainable. About United Textile Group AS, we are a private label, a white label as somebody knows it, and we were founded back in 1968. We mainly do jersey, and as you know, we do clothes for other brands. We have our own factories both in Turkey, Ukraine, and Bangladesh, and are producing about 500,000 plus a month. We do everything from basic t-shirt to sportswear, leisure wear, polos, all over printed dresses, and very high detailed dresses. In 2014, we started looking into the possibilities of becoming a more sustainable production company, and we started looking into all our processes, seeing how we could offer our customers a better products in sustainable fabrics. And within that, we started in 2018, we looked into 3D, and here we began our 3D journey. And now I am just gonna, here, we actually wanted to do a picture for a group picture from our different places, but we're not able to because of the situation. So here you have a short, nice picture of all of us. Today's webinar, we have first UTG and why we're doing, or United Textile Group, why are we doing this? I'll take you around in a roundabout in the application, showing you what it can do. And third, I show you from idea to final digital dress, which I will do live in vStitcher, the program. And last we have, or not last, we have our pros and cons. And then in the end, we have the Q&As. So first of all, at United Textile Group, we looked into all our processes to see, as a company, to see how could we be more sustainable. And we have huge accounts on exactly samples, transport, and then going through our work processes, we see here a cyclist of a sample where we started from the design idea you have here, and then you have to find the fabric. You wait days to get fabrics to be able to cut and sew the sample. Then you transport it to your customer where you get a review of the first sample. Probably there will be some changes, so you have to cut and sew a new sample, transport it, get a review. If it's approved, you have to do the sample, transport it, and then you have the final one. For our production line, we have the same workflow. We or the pre-production, where we do the production of actual sales samples, if it's a wholesaler we're selling to, or photo sample. We will transport it. The photo shoot will exist, or the sales meeting will go on. There's always a review on the samples after that. And then we do what is called the size set. Here we have to produce the samples in each size or some of the sizes and get them cut and sewn, transported, and again approved by the customer before we can start the actual production, and then bring that to the warehouse, to the shop, and then the final customer can buy it online. All this is a really long process, and this was what we were looking at to make it shorter. A brief look at how it works, just to tell you about the software. We are using vStitcher, which is a software program offered by Browseware. We selected this one because it's, for us, it's really clear on how to do patterns and very precise, which for us was the most important thing. Just to show you the user face of the actual program, this will make it more clear to you when we go into the program and see how it works. But number one, here you have the 3D window where you see the simulation of the 3D. Number two is this one. Here you see the patterns. The actual pattern pieces that is imported into the program from a 2D CAD system, Gerber, or whatever else system. Three, the upper, what do you call it? Yeah, the upper line here. You have the main menu, which you know from other programs, and here you have your tools and the sub menu with actions for the tools. And here to the left, sorry, you have number 4. This is our resource window where you get all the fabric in. You can see your 2D patterns, or you can choose your avatars. So depending on that, your context window over to the right, number 5, you see actions that you can touch around there. So now here, number 4, we're looking at materials, and over here you have the things you can change about the materials. Just to make sense of what you're going to see now in the program, I'm going to show you a small video where you see a front printed t-shirt being done. So I'm just going to play. Here in the 2D window, you see the pattern, and in 3D you see here. First of all, you always have to tell the computer where each pattern part will do. This you do in this arrange window. So you put like the sleeve on the arms and so on. And then you have to stitch the garment virtually, sorry. Here you can see, you can do it in the 2D window, or you can do it in the 3D. It looks very complicated, but in time you get really used to it, and it's quite fast. Then you do the 3D simulation, and you see the t-shirt, how it looks in real. You can change the colors. You can just pick up the colors here, or you can use a hex code or Pantone RGB numbers. And of course, to show you here how we do a front print. So we just import the actual front print. Everything is in real size. So you sort of have the print as you would use it on your real t-shirt, and then you import it, you place it. You can see the distance from neckline and from the shoulder or from the side seam, and you can change it directly into Photoshop. So you open it here, you can easily change the colors. Don't mind the red bar in the middle, it just shows me that the image is transparent here, but I change it to a nice mint color, then bring it back to the program, and here you have a second option. You can also choose another print. Here we have some feathers that I sort of want to place here on the shoulders. I can resize it. If I think it's too small, I can sort of pull it to get it bigger. I can see all the measurements over in the text context window. And again, to change the color, I can go into the window of changing colors. And here you see, it's hard to see, but now I'll zoom in. You can see the change of the color. So now it's sort of a copper metal look. And then you can render the image, meaning that you sort of can save it with or without an avatar. Yeah. Again, I'm showing you another video. Here it's a dress. And just to play it again, here we'll go a bit faster. You have the 2D patterns. You place it where it needs to, where every pattern part has to go. Stitch it up. Of course, it looks complicated, but again, you can also stitch on the 3D window if you want to. But here you can see the garment is all stitched together. We dress it. And then when it's finished simulating, I can add an all over print. So here you see I put on the print. So it's going to be here, I'm a bit fast. Here you see the all over print added to the dress. So you can see how it fits all the way around on each pattern piece, and it's cut lines. And within the same file, I can make what is called colorways. So I can have different print versions of the same dress. So I can order like size print 1 and print 2. Here I've added a small 2-colored flower, and yellow maybe it's not what I want, so I'll bring it back to photo, or bring it to Photoshop. I'll change the background. I think here a nice green. Say yes. And then import it directly into the file. So here, now my dress changed into green. And the same can be done for quality. So here I can select a rib quality. So you sort of get the texture of the fabric. I'm zooming in here so you can see it. And then again, export it the way you want it, with or without an avatar. So how can we use this from 2D, or how can we use that in 2D to 3D? Here, normally you start with a 3D sketch, or 2D sketch. You have a plain 2D drawing with a lot of information. You have some measurements down here and some comments, and then a nice inspiration picture showing of what it is you really want. So here you would do someone would do, or your pattern cutter would do the pattern, or supplier would do the pattern, and then get the fabric in the printed that you want, or another printed fabric, and then cut and sew it. And this takes probably 7 days, and then you get a sample that you can comment on. If we've done this in 3D from the beginning, we'll do like this. So here we'll stitch it up virtually, sorry. And here you can see, oh, it's way too long. That is not what we expected. So because of the gravity of the fabric, which has been calculated in the 3D, the dress is too long. So I can instantly make the adjustment in 3D without even cutting and sewing a sample, and say, okay, it's here. And then I want it to go to here, and then I saved 15 centimeters of fabric, which doesn't sound like much, but on an order or on 10,000 samples, 15 centimeters is quite a lot. Again, to show a 2D, here you have a nice 2D sketch showing idea of a top. It is asked for in a rib quality. And of course, there's some measurements following it, so you can get a really nice idea of what it is you want. Making it in 3D, we see here how it looks, and it stops the what you call it, imagination from the supplier or the salespeople or the buyer from the 2D sketch to imagine how this style will look like. Here they get a hard example on this is what it will look like. You have the rib quality, you see how the fit is and everything, and then of course it's more close to the real sample. Again, you have the sample here, a new sample. This is a dress made within the measurements of what is requested. You can easily see the sleeves are too long, and this is more technically, but a rib quality, normally the fabric is not very wide. So making a big skirt like this takes a lot of fabric. But by reducing the width of the skirt, you're able to get a better calculation on, or the consumption, the usage of the fabric. So by reducing a little bit, you see here, we reduced it by 10 centimeters on each side, and you have this result, which you're acceptable, and you get the dress at the price you really liked. So again, maybe you're reducing here the usage of 30 centimeters, and again on an order of X amount of fabric or amount, then you save a lot of fabric. The 3D can also be used to make a quick range plan. You can see these are the styles that I want, and I want to show them with an all over printed. Does these two print work together, and together with the solid color that we have in the collection? This is an easy overview instead of looking at small samples or small sketches with a small cut of fabric. And you can also look here, you have the new dress for the fall, and what check do you want to put on it, or what are the variations to see how it will look. You can also have like your core silhouette or your core dress that is sort of your signature, and then you can easily here make it in different qualities. So you have a melange, all over print, jacquard, or velvet. It works, the 3D works really nicely on presentations where you can see how to style it, or what are the color options. And again, for here you have some baby clothes. It can be the range in the collection, or like a 2-pack or 4-pack, how you're gonna style them together as a package. And last, almost last, you have here where you can use a complete online catalog for your never out of stock styles. Whoops, sorry. Where you see you have all your basic garments, and you presentate them in the colors that you want. But maybe only bringing one set of sample instead of carrying around with each color, all the samples in each colors. So just a question here on how we can have your, well, can you have your own fabric uploaded in program? Yes, all the fabrics are, again, you have to have your fabrics digitized, and this can be done by there's machines that'll do it, or you can ask the what do you call the software supplier on how to get your fabric analyzed into the program. It's a file that is, what do you call it? It calculates the width, what do you call it, the stretchability and the weight and everything on how this fabric will react in real life, and that's why you see it draped really nicely on the avatars. But yeah, we will go on again. All the questions we'll try and answer them at the end of the webinar. Okay, so now I'm going to take you from the idea to the final digital dress, just so you see how the program works in real life. We'll go out of here. No, I won't. We have to start there. Sorry. No, sorry. Here we have the program of Vstitcher, the user face. Where's my file? And I will open my file here. So, as you can see, We have our 3D window. Here is the avatar without any clothes on, sorry about that. We have the 2D window where you see patterns, and we have our resource window over here where you can see our patterns. I'm going to change it into our materials. So here you can see the fabrics that we have analyzed for exactly this dress. We have stitching, we have placed our all over print. But as you saw in the video before, first I have to arrange the pattern pieces, telling them where to go. Of course, to show this one, I've done a lot of things in advance to make it quicker in this webinar, but arranged there, we put all the pattern pieces. We can stitch them all together. This has been done before, and I'm just gonna show you here, prepare, but it's quite easy. You just push this one to that one, this to here, and you can also do it from there to there in the 3D window. So here I have my dress all stitched up, and then I'll push the button dress. That means that the program will start simulating the dress. This is the plain fabric without any print or anything on. It's only its, what do you call it, texture. And here I'll press finish, so it sort of stops the simulation. I can add on an all over printed fabric, which I'll do here. So I put that into my pattern pieces. And again, I dress, and you can see it has the print all over. Again, I can change this one. Here I've done some other color version in advance. So here you see this dress. Yeah. And now I would like to change the sleeve length. So I'll go into edit here. I can look at my sleeves, and here I think I'll do a 3/4 sleeve. So you see, when I change in the 2D window, this will happen in the 3D. I can turn dress, so it sort of finish it, all the simulation. I can choose to, I remove the neckband. I can remove it away from the 3D, so now you see it without that one. And you will finish it. So now you have a dress with the 3D, without the neckline and 3/4 sleeve. Again, I will change it into this one, so you can see it here in this dotted print. I zoom out. I'm in the edit mode again, and I can choose to make the skirt part a bit more narrow. Here I'm on the front, and I can do the same to the back. And you'll see here, when I press dress, the skirt becomes more narrow. Again, I would like to have the sleeve shorter, so I'll pull it all the way up to here to get really short sleeves. And I can also choose by measurement to change the sleeves. So here I'll select my 2 sleeves. In my context window, I have the measurements. So I'll make it wider. So we go up to 50. So you see my sleeve becomes wider. Again, I have to admit I'm a designer, not pattern cutter. So what I'm doing right now is probably not the most correct way. But you can as a pattern cutter, you would do a much more nice. But you can see here in my simulation, I'm just going to zoom in on the sleeves, that they become wider. I can pull it here to get it to sort of place it where I want it to go. So now I have a much wider sleeve with a lot of gathering in it. I can also choose I want to change my neckline. So I'm pulling on the front piece, I'm pulling it down forward so I get a V-neck. And I'm not sure I like it in this one, so I'll go back and I'll see that design is this one in the flower print. And again, I'm not happy with the length of the dress. So here I select the bottom and I can pull it upwards. Whoops, didn't get the back width bit, but I'm taking it here. And now you can see, whoops. And of course here you can go directly into the measurements and do them correctly. So I'll see here 38, 38, oh, 0.4. And yeah, now I have a short dress with a V-neck and wide sleeves. Finished. Yes, so as you can see here, this avatar is size, or I'm telling you, she's size 38 and she's wearing, as you can see up here on the sizes, she's wearing size M. When I imported the pattern, it has the graduation in it, so we have different sizes. So here I can actually choose the extra small, edit on a 3D size 38 model. So here you see the dress becomes smaller because I put the extra small on a 38 avatar. I have what is called a pressure map here. When I finish it, sorry, the pressure map. So here I can see, and now I know it's a jersey dress, but it is quite tight up on the shoulders and here on the chest and in the waist because it's size extra small on 38. Just to exaggerate this, I can go and choose. Now I choose my avatar to be size 46, still wearing an extra small dress. And here I can press dress. Again, you can see the extra small is very tight on this size. And I can finish it and I do the pressure map again. And here you see how tight it goes. Of course, again, I know this is jersey, so we have all the stretchability of the fabric. Has this been a woven dress? Of course, it would be very red, as avatar would not fit into this small dress. So to make things right, we'll put an extra large on the model. So here I'm just choosing the pattern size extra large on my new avatar. And then I finish it. And you can see on my pressure map, now it fits really nice on her. So that was what I was showing in live in the program. I'm just going to minimize it and we will proceed here. So the result of this dress, we came from this like really plain 2D drawing with some information. Here you see the 3D designs that we made. We made one with a collar, without the collar, more narrow, and short sleeve and shorter skirt part. We can quickly show it into the different prints in the different variations that we like. To, for instance, salespeople, customers, whatever to make a selection, and you can put it directly into your website. Or of course you have to do a photo shoot with the model to be able to have these images, or do you? Because this is Grace. She is a avatar model made by Meetel. This is a model who has been 360-degree photographed, created into avatar that we can fit our clothes on within the browser within VStitcher. So you can get your styles without even cutting or sewing a sample. You can get it directly into your web page, as you see here. There are different models for this, but everything you can read about this at Meetel. We also have what is called a GLTF file or GLB file, which is a 3D ray traced image. Here you can get the image. You can get the image, or you can get your 3D as a 3D object, and you can put it into all kinds of things. You can use it in VR, you can put it on the website, you can have it placed within a room. You've probably seen this within the cars or bikes or furnitures, but also in fashion. You can have it here. You can see you can turn it around. You can edit lights or whatever. But as I'm saying, it's 3D. It is completely 3D because we can actually turn it and look into it as well, which is quite cool. But of course, you have to take care that you don't get lost in the style. But this is a really cool format that can be used for a lot of great things. Just to go back again. Oh, and now I have to start from the beginning. Sorry about this. Yeah. So if you have questions, just write them down. We try and answer them again at the end. Okay, now we go to the fourth point, which is pros and cons. And just to start with the more cons, what do you call it, the more negatively, we have some challenges in implementing 3D. We as a company has had a lot of them, but very good, what do you call it, very good experience to have. But one of the things, what are the challenges in implementing 3D will be, you have to have the willpower to change, to do the change. Everyone will have to, what do you call it, be interested in the change and willing to do the effort. It's of course it's a financial investment, but will it pay itself back? According to me, definitely yes. According to our CFO, yes. And another challenge is that you have to look at all your workflows and you sort of have to disrupt them and rethink them on how you can implement the 3D within this. And of course, you have to convince your stakeholders in using 3D as a tool. Again, you don't go from 3D to no sample at all, but it's a tool to make you better, to do a better product, as you've seen and shown before. And another challenge is prejudice. There's a lot of these, and one of them, especially for my own, is the design part was this is just an extra layer on the work that we already do. Or it could be, I cannot live without physical samples. We have to have physically touch everything before we can sell it, and so on. But again, if you want to make changes, the new ways, they're hard, it's uphill, but it leads to something good and better. And the old way, if you just do usual business as usual, well, there's only one way that's going. So to tell you the pros on this, we have here to the left, you see the 2D drawing of a style that normally me as a supplier, I have an idea of what this will be. Salespeople have another idea, or the buyer has a third idea. But here, using 3D, you can make instantly, you can make a sample, or like a virtual image of the style. You see it all 360 degree, like all the way around. You can make changes and you get a final image that you can use directly into your sales materials, marketing, or as you saw, you can bring it directly to your website. And then this is on samples. On production, I'm just going to tell you a real story from our experience. And here, as I showed before, we had to do, we do size sets on styles when we start the pre-production phase. So here we have a dress that a customer has ordered it, and now we'll have to do a size set. So we, of course, have stitched, we made the patterns, we made all the sizes, we stitch and cut and sew, sample up in, I think, minimum 3 sizes. But here you have a size 38 and 46 to compare. You have a front, you have the front view, in the middle, the side, and to the right, the back view. Okay, so we cut and sew these samples, we send them, transport to the customer. They have a look at it, they will measure it and compare them to their measurement chart. And the feedback, what we got was that the dress is too long and there's a problem on the chest. And you can see very shortly here, there's something going on. But image-wise, this is what you see. Had we done this, if we'd done this in 3D first, we would have received, or we would have had this result on using our customers' avatars on size 38 and 46, putting on the styles. You can see that they're all of the dress is definitely too long. And you can already see here that on the chest or here on the top part, there's a problem that we have to look into. So had we done this before that, we would have saved to cut and sew an extra size set, a second size set to our customer, and we will have a more correct pattern or correct styles from the beginning. And just to tell from our side, we done in 2019, we had, or before that, sorry, we had 30% errors in our size sets. So we would do second size set on 30% of all size sets that we've done. Doing this, we eliminate 99% of all our errors. So it's definitely an advantage also in the production or pre-production phase. Again, for the pros, you have here, you can easily see a dress, choose which one you want. Does the print work for you? Does it work online? Does the dress fit nicely? You can make nice presentations where you show different color options. Again, here you can have basic goods that you just show the new color versions of them. And again, here we have a really nice color block that maybe you have one sample to show your customers, and then or one option, sorry, to show your customers, and then you have to select the third. But here you have different variations so you can see the which color option works the best and make a selection. And just to show here, I know this is a woven garment, but here we actually helped one of our a new customer. We helped them as they could not in these times. They were not able to get their samples home for the sales meeting that they had. So we did a 3D version, the one you saw before where it could turn around, to sell them these pants Again, really nice and easy way to make a fast image of what you're doing. Here are some very nice pictures from Browse where you can do woven dresses and shirts, tops, whatever. It works for outerwear. Of course, here you have some padding. It's just examples of how you do padding on a coat, and also jeans. Browseware has a huge library on everything on jeans, on washers and stuff like that. So it's quite easy to do denim wear, and also within the fits in the pattern cutting and fitting, you have some really nice features there. And last, or not last, but here you have a jacket where you can see all the inside detail. You have embroidery, you have a lining, so you can sort of work on all the layers on the body. So to tell you, we came from this one where the garment cycles before 3D. Again, we did we had all this road on how to do the garments, and we came down to this one. So we would actually do 3D design on, what do you say, on the computer. We will have a review from the customer online and a final approval. Then we would actually cut and sew the sample. So we do this one time. We transport it one time instead of 3, and you have a sample approved at the customer. Oh, sorry, and I go back. And just to show, to tell you, I'm putting here sample cycles can go from hours to days. One of our record was a sample cyclist on 3 hours, where we did, it was of course a customer that we know, they know the quality that we're talking about. They just wanted a new print. So from the design process to the approved sample, it took 3 hours. And again, if you do the production cycles or the pre-production cycles, here we have a garment. You have the garment. We went from all this long travel to, in 3D, we can do it after you've chosen your style. We do online size set fitting, where you can see the size set on the avatars. There are the actual measurements of your styles, or of the styles. And you have a review. Of course, this can be repeated again if there's not, but then you go to production, you have the goods coming home, and you can sell directly to your customer. And again, to the 3-hour sample decision that I told you before, here for production we had like 28 days on from we approved it until the goods were in the shop. So now you can see we have a better quality, we are faster in doing our styles, and we get actually a better result, and this reduces the costs. We have definitely reduced costs. We do less carbon footprint. Ours has been reduced greatly by not transporting so many samples. We don't do that much physical samples anymore. So we are not contributing with samples to these landfills all around in the third countries. And again, using 3D, you can get a lot of benefits. You get a better fit, which is better garments, and you have a lot happier customers. So now for the Q&As. Yeah, I have one here. It says, when you alter the length in 3D, how does that reflect back to the 2D Gerber pattern? And do you need to export pattern back to Gerber? Yes. When you finished your when you finished in in the 3D in vStitcher, you can actually export the file back to Gerber. Again, when you import it, maybe I have to start like that. When you import the patterns from Gerber or another 2D CAD program into vStitcher, you use what is called a DFX file. Here you have made the pattern without seam allowance, and you and everything, of course, is in real size. And then when you finish, you can export the file back to Gerber and proceed what you have to do there to get your final pattern plotted out for production. Another question, if we apply all the prints for the fabric, is is it visible, the fabric texture? Yes. If you have the correct, if you have the fabric has been analyzed and you have the sort of the texture, like the structure of the surface of the fabric, then this you can have going through to in an all over print. So you put an all over print on top, or it will react like that. And if it's a placement print where you have like a heavy rubbery surface, this also you can put on top of your texture, so you can sort of decide whether you want one or the other. That one. Can the avatar get modified in length with different sizes? Yes, as I showed you in the live part and what you see on the screen now, you can do all sizes of avatars. You can easily change the measurements, and you sort of get the build of the person. You can have the posture correct, and so on. And again, you can export the avatar so you can compare it in, for instance, Photoshop to a real person. Another question is, the alteration you made to the dress could require some changes to the grading of the dress. Has 3D changed the way designs and pattern makers work together? Yes, definitely. We in our company we work much closer together now, because of course I'm not an expert in pattern cutting, so I know the changes that I do to the pattern has consequences which my pattern cutter needs to know about. And again, in the program there's a really nice feature where you can put small annotations to what changes you've done, and so on. Another question is, how does the process, if I want a specific fabric to a new collection, do I need to digitalize it, or will you do it? You will have to, the fabric has to be digitalized. Sorry, it's difficult to say. And yes, we can help you do it, or you can have it done, but yes, you have to change it. You can have small alterations on fabrics, but you have to do a lot of tests where if you change the weight of a fabric, it's still the same, but just a small change to the weight. Here you can experiment yourself, but best would be to have your fabric digitalized. Okay, another question here. Is it possible to animate all kinds of fabric in your 3D software? And is it possible to amend the weight and the composition of fabric to ensure that the 3D is really yeah. Sorry, that's a bit more like the same question. I'm sorry, but my question is in a small window. Another question. Do all your product units use the same software, Browseware and Gerber? Or do you have any experience with conversion of patterns so the CAD system use to other CAD systems use for production? Yeah, in our company we do all use Browseware and we all do use Gerber. But as I said before, a DFX file is a what do you call it? Universal file that all programs can, or not all, but 2D CAD programs can export and import. So I can actually do my pattern in Illustrator and then bring it into Browseware and take it back again, of course. I have a question here that asks if I can share the presentation later on. Yes, we will do some handouts so you can see the presentation, and there will be a small video. Like, there will be a video of the webinar as well on our webpage, so you all get message about this later on. Okay, there's one here that says, why do I get better garments? Having the avatar in your customer size, or in the correct size range, you have a better option of doing better patterns, and you can actually see the pattern cutter. If they work directly into the program, they can see if they have small mistakes or they need to make alterations straight on, instead of cut and sew a sample that you sent to another pattern cutter in another company, who will look at it and maybe not see this mistake. So we all, what you call it, improves our work, and by here you get a better garment. I hope that makes sense. There's a question here: how long does the total process takes from design to purchase sample with 2D versus 3D? Does it require additional pattern makers to make 3D patterns for Lotta? Oh, that's more complicated. Does it require additional pattern makers to here? Somebody is asking who knows. Again, Browseware, as we use, I showed you the software of vStitcher. vStitcher is a program where you, as pattern cutter, can, or designer, can change, do alteration in the actual pattern. There's another version called Lotta, which is where you cannot do any alteration in the patterns, but you can do alterations in fabric, cut lines, everything else. It's sort of a easier way for designers to work, not touching the patterns. For me personally, I like touching the patterns because I can make my design work here. I can do designs within the program instead of sit and doing 2D flat drawings as we do normally. So no, if I do the pattern in vStitcher, the same DFX file can be opened in Lotta. Question answered. Then there's a question here: how about adding accessories to the digital garment? How is that possible? You can add buttons, zippers, trims, ribbons, patches, everything that goes additionally on the garments. You can add as you have to import them into the program. For instance, we do a lot of patches, like embroidery patches on the top of a top, and here we just scan them in, and then we place them as a sort of a pattern piece on its own, so it has a transparent background, and then you can easily stitch it to the garment. So you can easily do that. There's a question here that says, what has been the most difficult to learn? I think that you have to, at least as a designer, you have to cross the hurdle, cross the line from doing 2D to do 3D. It's it's more, in the beginning you feel like you have to sketch it up first, but in 2D, but when you have a clear idea of what you do, you can actually work on a basic block or a dress that already works really nicely, and you can change the sleeves, add width to the skirt. And so here you get when you start designing in 3D, you get this, yeah, you just start to design in another way, and that is something you have to learn. So yes, you have to be good at using the program, but that is for all programs. Also, another question is there a way to start 3D work faster without having to depend on Gerber or Lectra? Again, I would say you have to have some base blocks. I know, again, with the software there comes some base blocks that you can work from, so you could actually just use it to do design and then show 3D images to a supplier, and then they can work from that one. Again, it's a 3D image, you can see it all the way around instead of just a 2D plain sketch, so you definitely have a better result. I don't know that. When there's a question here saying, when you export the DFX from vStitcher and import into Gerber, do you have the seam from vStitcher, something that it previous had? Again, I must say I'm a designer, so I don't work in Gerber, so I actually wouldn't know. But I can come back on that. I would know your question. I can get back on that to you. Okay, and then we have the last question here. What are your wishes for the area of 3D development in the future? Oh, that's a good one. I just see 3D as it's really everything is moving at the moment on both 3D, both for clothing and especially for avatars. And if we can go to a point where you have you're not doing all these samples that I think is like every time you have 3 garments, one of them will never be used. They just end up in a landfill and get burnt, and that is ridiculous, and we have to stop that, definitely. So one of my wishes, they are to, of course, reduce the sample which I never used, and also to in the future you have 3D avatars of yourself, and you could sort of try on your clothes virtually on the in a web shop, and then you can buy the garment and get it, maybe just produce that one dress for you. So the future has a lot to do with all this digitalization and especially 3D. So I would call it, oh, that was it. Thank you for your time. We will get back to you on, we have a lot of questions, and we will get back to you on them either personally or we'll do a FAQ very soon. But you can hear, you can see, you can follow us on LinkedIn, and of course, do not hesitate to contact me, and I'll try and get your answers. Thank you for today.